Hello and welcome to Mikey Learns. Today we'll be discussing an alternative to Outlook rules, the alternative being Power Automate. You might be thinking to yourself, why wouldn't I just use Outlook rules? I've used them forever and they work flawlessly. Well, the power of using Power Automate is simply that, power of Power Automate. Imagine the possibilities of what you could do within your inbound emails while leveraging Power Automate. As is the case with all my videos, I don't do any editing, so you can experience my thinking and thought process as I go through this with you. What I'm presenting today is more of an idea than anything else. The idea is simply, instead of using the old school rules in Outlook, why not try something a little bit more modern and new school, Power Automate? And like I said, you might be asking yourself why. The why is simply because of the capabilities increase over Outlook rules. Power Automate has all the various connectors and connections to the various third-party as well as Microsoft internal applications. Now, within Power Automate, you have the full capability of you have the complete capability of traditional Outlook rules, but everything else in addition to that. So I'm not going to inundate you with use cases today, but what I will present is the idea. Well, first I'll start with why I came up with this or how I came up with this, which honestly it's not unique or profound. I'm sure half the people watching this video use some of this video in some way, shape, or form. Um, Hopefully this video inspires you to think a little harder and increase or modify what you're already doing. And if you're not doing this, then maybe consider doing it and using it over Outlook rules. Why I started doing this was I do a lot of data migrations, and to drop the ball and miss doing something in the middle of a migration can cost your company money or lost time. So it's very important that you don't drop the ball. And unless you have a project coordinator, you're going to have to manage all these emails and all this information yourself and account for it all in the migration. And it's very laborious and tedious to do all that. And I was using Outlook rules, but inherently there's a lot of limitations. And I was like, why not automate as much of this as possible using Power Automate? So I figured, let's give it a try. And so what I'm going to present now is more or less the infrastructure and the requirements to do this. And I'll leave the use cases up to you to imagine. I will present a couple use cases, but I'm not going to go too deep into it. So we're actually going to start over in Outlook. For me, I have a naming convention that works for me. You can do whatever you want. Here under Inbox, I have 3 folders. To the left of the hyphen is a unique ID. It's a string that I'm likely to never have occur in the body of a future email. So for me, I always prefix with ID, colon, and then some 4-digit numerical value. It's always worked. I've been using it for a year now, no problem. To the right-hand side of the hyphen is the descriptive text of the folder. Like, what is this folder about? So the one requirement is that this unique ID be within the body. For me, I use the body. You could use the subject line too. This unique ID has to be in the body of the email. So if I'm the one starting the email thread, I just simply add the ID to the signature block. If I get added midway through a thread, or I'm at the end of a thread, then I find a way to add it. So if I'm replying, I just slap it in the signature, and all the future emails will get picked up by Flow. And if it's the end of a thread, I'll just forward it to myself and slap the ID in the body, and then Flow picks it up. So that's kind of like the Outlook infrastructure and the requirement for this all to work. The requirement being that the ID is in the body. That's how I do it. Moving on over to Flow though. It's a very simple flow. When a new email arrives, and then these 3 things are just conditions, and I just name them I just rename the condition to equal the folder name. And that's just so I know what's going on in the flow. Now, it's just a simple condition. If the body contains my unique ID, then do something with this email. Otherwise, check to see if the ID, check the other IDs and see if they're in the email. And if they're in there, then do something with that, I mean, this isn't rocket science. So, you can do things like push notifications, flag the email, move it to folders, push a copy of the email to Teams chat, send an auto response, create a task in Planner. Like, if you've used Flow for 5 minutes, you know that the capabilities are near endless, at least in comparison to Outlook rules. You could get more advanced and use switch cases, and, depending on who responds, you could do a different set of actions. Or, when you receive an expected response and you label it and do whatever you want to do with it, like here, push notification, flag email, move my email to a folder, I could then send an auto response that is send an email with options and then have a child flow or service flow, whatever you want to call it, that gets triggered when they send a response with whatever the option is, that then does something else. So the capabilities are pretty limitless, and so the point of the video is just to introduce to you an idea for those of you that have never thought about this. And for those of you that are using Flow, I mean, if this is an improvement to your current strategy, then great. And if you're doing something that's better than what I'm doing, please let me know in the comments. If you have any use cases you want ironed out or want help with, leave a comment and we'll help you. Anyways, take care and have a great day.